Dear students, welcome to SR Concepts. I am Ravi Verma and in this video I will discuss the next topic, that is secondary sexual characters. These are the characters which make a male different from a female, or we can say the characters because of which boys look very much different from girls. Dear students, before the onset of puberty, you know that boys and girls are not much different but are quite similar in their overall body design and shape. But at the onset of puberty, or when the adolescence period starts, you will see that gradually the girls you will see that in girls breasts begin to develop at puberty. In the same way you will see that in boys facial hair grow and they develop mustaches and beard. So because of mustaches and beard in boys and the development of breasts in girls, the two types of individuals very much different or distinguished from each other. As these features help to distinguish the male from the female, these characters are called secondary sexual characters. So the breasts, mustaches, beards, these are called secondary sexual characters. Dear students, you also notice that boys also develop hair on their chest, and both boys and girls develop hair in their armpits and in their pubic region, that is the region above the thighs. At the same time, you will see that even the size of genitalia, like the penis, right, starts growing, right. So these all differences, these all characters are called secondary sexual characters. Both Bujo and Paheli wish to know what initiates changes at puberty. So dear students, if we talk about what initiates changes at puberty, then the answer is hormones. Let's understand what are hormones. The changes which occur at adolescence are controlled by hormones, and hormones are the chemical substances which are secreted by endocrine glands. Endocrine glands which make up a system that is called endocrine system in our body. So the male hormone, if we talk about the hormone secreted in male, right. So the male hormone, also called the testosterone, begins to be released by the testes at the onset of puberty, and this causes changes in boys like the development of facial hair like mustaches and beard, also the widening of the chest, the broadening of the shoulder, right, and more development of muscles, enlargement of penis. These all characteristics are developed, or we can say initiated or regulated by the male hormone known as testosterone, which is released by the testes at the onset of puberty. So during the adolescence period, the male hormone testosterone starts releasing from the testes and brings about changes in the boy's body and makes them different from the girls. In the same way, once puberty is reached in girls, if we talk about in girls, then the female hormone, also known as estrogen, initiates the development of breasts in girls. This hormone not only initiates the development of breasts but also the development of mammary glands inside the breasts. Mammary glands inside the breasts. So mammary glands inside the breasts are the milk secreting glands which produce milk. Please note that milk is only secreted when the woman is has given birth to the baby. Right. So the name of the female hormone is estrogen, which is actually secreted from the ovaries. The production of these hormones, both male and female hormones, is under the control of another hormone secreted from an endocrine gland called pituitary gland. So dear students, pituitary gland is also called the master gland, which releases a hormone that regulates the release of male and female hormones in their bodies. Now, role of hormones in initiating reproductive function. So, in this topic we will discuss how do the hormones work. In order to understand, we have to understand this this flow chart, we can say, right? So what happens that hormones are always released from the endocrine glands into the bloodstream directly. For example, if we talk about male hormone, right, testosterone, this is released from testis directly into the bloodstream. After mixing into the blood, the testosterone hormone will travel into the body and will reach to certain organs in which it will bring about changes, right? Such organs or such sites which respond to the hormones are called target sites. So what is written here, let's read this one also. Hormones fit from pituitary stimulates testes and ovaries to release testosterone and estrogen. So first of all, pituitary gland releases hormones. These hormones mix with the blood, reach the ovaries and testes and stimulates them to release the testosterone and estrogen respectively. When released in bloodstream and reach the part of the body. So when the testosterone or estrogen, right, when they are released into the bloodstream, right, they reach the parts of the body in which they have to bring about changes. These parts are called target sites. On reaching the target site, they stimulate the changes in the body at the onset of puberty. So dear students, what did we learn from here? We learned that that first of all, pituitary releases hormones, they reach the testes and ovaries via blood. So the testes and ovaries are the target sites of the pituitary hormones. Then testes and ovaries release testosterone and estrogen hormones into the blood. Through the blood, they travel to the target sites. For example, if we talk about estrogen, so after being released from the ovary, the estrogen will pass into the blood, and from blood, via blood, it will reach the breast areas, right, and bring about development in the breast, or we can say bring about change in the breasts. In the same way, testosterone, once released into the blood, it will travel into the blood and will reach your facial areas and will start developing the facial hair like the beard and moustaches. So I hope you got how the hormones are working in our body, how do they move into the blood, reach the target site and bring about the changes. Now look at this yellow box. What is written? Paheli and Bujo have now understood that puberty makes the beginning of the reproductive period when one becomes capable of reproduction. But they want to know if reproductive life once begun continues or it ends some time. So dear students, the reproductive phase of human life, this is the next topic that we are going to study. What is reproductive phase? The reproductive phase of the life is that phase during which the humans are capable of producing gametes. For example, the reproductive phase of a male is that phase during which a male is capable of producing sperms, right? So the capacity of maturation and reproduction of and production of gametes lasts for a much longer time in males than females. For example, if we talk about in females, the reproductive phase of life begins at puberty, that is at around 10 to 12 years, and generally lasts up to 45 to 50 years. Means a female starts producing eggs at 10 to 12 years of age and stops producing eggs between 45 to 50 years of age. The ova begin to mature with the onset of puberty. One ovum matures and is released by one of the ovaries once in about 28 to 30 days. During this period, the wall of the uterus becomes thick so as to receive the egg. In case it is fertilized and it begins to develop, this results in pregnancy. And what happens if the egg is not fertilized? If fertilization does not occur, the released egg and the thickened lining of the uterus along with its wall along with its blood vessels are shed off, and this causes bleeding in women, which is called menstruation, right? So menstruation also occurs once in about 28 to 30 days. Means every 28th day or 30th day once bleeding takes place, right, through the vagina, and this bleeding is called menstruation. Because why does this take place? Because the wall of the uterus sheds along with the blood vessels, and also the egg gets destroyed. Dear students, there is a very important term known as menarche. What is the meaning of menarche? The first menstrual flow in a woman begins at the puberty, and this flow, the first flow, is called menarche. And at 45 to 50 years of age, the menstrual cycle stops, and the stoppage of menstruation is termed as menopause. So initially menstrual cycle may be irregular and it takes some time to become regular. That means initially maybe the menstrual cycle or menstrual flow actually takes place at irregular intervals, but gradually it becomes very regular, that is around 28 to 30 days, right? So dear students, what is written here? Paheli says that the reproductive life of a woman lasts from menarche to menopause. Is she right? Yes, she is right, because menarche is the indication of the release of first ovum, and menopause is the indication that there is no ovum being released now in the female's body. So this means the menarche is the start of reproductive phase and menopause is the stop of the reproductive phase. Dear students, menstrual cycle is controlled by hormones. Now what is the menstrual cycle? The cycle includes first step, that is maturation of egg, then the second step, its release, and the third step, thickening of the uterine wall and its breakdown if pregnancy does not occur. In case the egg is fertilized, it begins to divide and then gets embedded in the uterus for further development, as you have learnt in chapter 9. So dear students, after this let's understand how is sex of a baby determined. Dear students, there is a question in the minds in her mind. Here you can see the Paheli is thinking that I heard my mother and my aunt talking about my cousin who is going to have a baby. They were discussing whether she would give birth to a boy or a girl. I wonder what makes the fertilized egg develop either into a boy or a girl. So the question is that after the zygote has been formed and the zygote is developing into the fetus, what makes a fetus to be a boy or a girl? So this is the question, what determines the sex of the baby? Dear students, here is the answer. Look at the diagram. Dear students, as you know that the sperms are the cells, right? There are two types of cells in human body. Somatic cells, which are all the cells except the sperms or the eggs. So there are two types of cells. One are the somatic cells, other are the gametic cells. In somatic cells, the number of chromosomes is 46, but in gametes like sperms and eggs, the number of chromosomes is half, that is 23. So if we talk about sperms, if we talk about sperms in boys, you will see that the number of chromosomes is 22 plus Y chromosome in this sperm, and you can see in the other sperm the number of chromosomes is 22 plus X. So here you can see that in a boy or in a male, or we can say in father, there are two types of sperms. Half of the sperms have 22 chromosomes plus Y chromosome, and half of the sperms have 22 plus X chromosomes. These Y and X chromosomes are called sex chromosomes, while these 22 chromosomes are called autosomes. Now if we talk about eggs, right, then all the eggs in a female body are of similar type, means all the eggs have 22 autosomes plus X sex chromosome. So you can say that in a girl, all the eggs which are released have same types of chromosomes, that is all the eggs are having X chromosome. So we have two types of sperms, X sperms and Y sperms, right? But eggs are of same type, that is X eggs having X chromosomes. Now at the time of fertilization, if a sperm with Y chromosome meets with an egg, then the combination of sex chromosomes in the zygote will be X and Y, means X obtained from the egg and Y obtained from the sperm. So X and Y will be the sex chromosomes in the boy, right? So this zygote will develop into a baby boy. But if the sperm having X chromosome will join with or fertilize with the egg, then the combination of sex chromosomes in the zygote will be XX. Such a zygote will develop into a girl. So dear students, who is responsible for a baby being a boy or a girl? Actually, the father's sperms are responsible for a baby becoming a boy or a girl. So the sex of a baby depends upon the type of sperm fusing with the egg. So we can say that father is responsible for the baby becoming a boy or a girl and not the mother, because mother has all the eggs of same type, but the father has two different types of sperms, X sperms and Y sperms. So who is responsible for the sex determination of the baby? Father is responsible for the determination of the sex for the baby. Actually, the chromosomes of the sperms of the father are responsible for determination of the sex of the baby. Thank you for watching this video. We have already learnt in this video we have covered 2 or 3 topics. The video has become quite long. Thank you for watching the video. Please watch it carefully, repeat it, make your notes, and like the video if you really like it. Subscribe to the channel, share the video also. Thank you.